Good afternoon, televiewers of Divine Mercy Radio Television, and welcome to another interesting edition of our program Vocations Corner over the Divine Mercy Radio Television of the Diocese of Aboya. This is the summer holidays, and so many people are looking forward to upcoming vocation camps in their dioceses with the presence of their vocation directors, especially young people who are trying as much as possible to undergo the discernment process to actually discern their vocations. To others, they are called to live the religious and consecrated way of life. To others, they are called to live as married men and women. Where do you belong? This is a time where many are actually yearning for some clarifications and some spiritual mentorship and guidance with regard to, embracing a particular vocation in life. And that is why today, being, of course, Monday, the 23rd of June 2025, in this program, Vocations Corner, we shall be talking about what Vocations Camp is all about and the upcoming Diocesan Vocation Camp of the Diocese of Aboya. And so, dear friend, we urge you to remain glued to your television screens. What you notice the fact that this program aims at helping others, helping individuals, helping persons, especially the young, who wish to actually make a proper decision of their lives with regard to living according to the dictates and the norms of Christ, living lives worthily as per the callings that they have received. We remember that St. Paul says in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 1, I urge you to lead a life and a vocation worthy of the calling that you have received. That is why in this program, Vocations Corner, we tend to journey with one another and encourage one another to help people actually see clearly the hand of God in their lives with regard to what God actually wants them to become. Thus, we talk about the call which is addressed by God to each and every one of us, and how people can discern the call and the voice of God in their lives. And equally, we look at the role of spiritual directors and people who act as spiritual mentors that can accompany young men and women to discern the voice and the call of God in their lives. We equally look at the role of parents within a family setting with regard to children and young ones who actually want to live the religious or consecrated way of life. What is the role of parents? What are parents expected to do? Are they expected to accompany these young ones? Or, as it is the case with some persons, are they expected to shut down any tendencies or any contents raised about living the vocation? Some are called to live as religious men and women. Some are called to live as married men. But how can one actually properly decipher with absolute certainty that God is actually calling somebody to live as a religious man or woman, or as a married man, or even as a single or an individual? These are the objectives that we tend to achieve in this program, Vocations Corner. And this program comes to you every Monday at this hour. And our lines are always very, very open. You can get to us by sending us an SMS with regard to your own view concerning aspects pertaining to one's vocation. Let us get a little bit, some tips with regard to what a vocation camp is all about. So we shall be looking at the Diocesan Vocation Camp 2025 of the Diocese of Aboya. This is a period whereby vocations directors in the various dioceses organize these vocation camps, which sees the convergence of many individuals, people of different age groups, the very young, and I'm talking of some youth, and we could term them some elderly youths, and even some mature men and women who actually attend this camp, these vocation camps, and they are enlightened and they are actually opened up with regard to a particular way of life, a particular religious group, a particular charism, and a particular spirituality. So a vocation camp is actually an event. It's an event or a program designed to help individuals discern their vocation or calling. And this program is particularly in the context of a religious or spiritual life. That is what a vocation camp is all about. It is an event or a program which is organized and actually designed to help individuals discern, get to know more about their vocation or calling. And this particularly is in the context of a religious or spiritual life. These camps are often provided by the diocese, headed by the diocesan vocation director. There is often a diocesan vocations director in each diocese appointed by the bishop, and this director is in charge of actually journeying with young men and women, in actually helping them, discerning them, listening to them, encouraging them with regard to a particular way of life, a particular, religious congregation they wish to join, with a particular charism and a particular mode of life they wish to live. That is the role of a vocations director. So in this count that we are notifying you that subsequently we shall have on board the vocations director in the Diocese of Aboya. The priest in charge of vocations, he will be present here. Subsequently, because of some imperatives and some pastoral duties, he couldn't make it up here today. But hopefully we get the vocations director prior to this vocations camp. That is the vocations director of the Diocese of Aboya, Father Emmanuel Epie, who will be answering present here and will be telling us more about the relevance of such camps in the life of a young man, of a young woman who wishes to be clarified and who wishes to be mentored about living a particular charism or a particular lifestyle. Thus, these camps are often provided by the diocese to help journey with the young. And they often provide reflections and prayer. It's often a moment of prayer, a moment of, deep introspection, looking down into one's life, and a moment of complete examination of oneself and opening up oneself to the will of God. There are often discussions and workshops in such camps. Now, often, vocation camps in some dioceses will always be within a duration of maybe 5 days to a week. And so, these young men and women actually converge on a particular venue. And when they converge, there is an established program. Of course, they will leave their homes and they come as one and they live with a particular program which has been established and well established by the vocations director. Now, the vocations director makes available the presence of so many religious men and women, priests of different maybe congregations or religious groups. We have diocesan priests, we have maybe missionary priest or religious priest. We have some like the Capuchin fathers. We have some like the Mill Hill missionaries. We have some like the Augustinians. We have some like the Claretians, the Vocations, and you name a whole lot of them. Now they have representatives who will come from these communities and represent their particular communities in these camps. When they come, they talk to these young men and women about their particular religious congregation. And this follows suit even for the women who are with the sisters. We have the various religious settings, religious movements and groups. We have sisters like the Sisters of St. Therese of the Child Jesus. We have the Franciscan sisters, the Tertiary Sisters of St. Francis. We have the Sisters of St. Anne. We have the Capuchin sisters, just to name a few in a litany of many. When they come, they equally speak to these young, maybe girls, who have the desire and who have the yearning and who think that one day they can serve the Lord in his vineyard as a sister. So it's all about service and it's all about spiritual guidance. So the primary aim and goal of a vocation camp is to give some spiritual guidance to these young ones. It is this camp that we are talking about, that it is, of course, summer holidays, the long holidays in our ecclesiastical province, where most of the students are done with their public exams. They are having some time for themselves. This is a moment to utilize this very, very golden opportunity placed beforehand, especially those who are still perhaps in secondary schools, high schools, and those who just, sat in for the public exams like the ordinary level, the advanced level, and even class examinations, to gradually use this opportunity, attend these vocation camps, and definitely reap the fruit of what has been bestowed for them well ahead of time. And so, it's a moment of prayer. After leaving home, father, mother, brother, or sister, these young men and women converge on a particular locus. And for the Diocese of Boya, it has always been, of recent years, there at Bishop Roga Minor Seminary, though the venue may fluctuate. Now, these young men and women come, observe a moment of prayer. They pray in the morning, the afternoon, and in the evening, and at various hours. At the measured hours, they pray. And there are discussions and workshops. Like I said, there are presentations. For instance, I am a diocesan priest. There will be a priest who will be talking on the part of diocesan priest. What does it mean to be a diocesan priest? What are the qualifications to be absorbed in the formation process as a seminarian to undergo formation in order to become a diocesan priest? What is the duration with regard to formation in our ecclesiastical province of Bamenda and in Holy Mother Church at large? What are the primary requirements? What are the stages of formation? You are going to know the number of maybe the detailed requirements needed of you, the number of maybe ordinary level papers passed with points, the number of advanced level papers passed with points, or any other equivalent qualification. Then you are equally going to know the duration, how long it takes, and what are the various phases. Talking about the pre-pedagogic year, the spiritual year at the Spiritual Formation Center in John Mary Vianney Spiritual Formation Center in Bafut for Ecclesiastical Province of Bamenda. From there you proceed to studies, I'm talking of the Philosophicum, 3 years of studies of philosophy at St. John Paul II Major Seminary, Bachanta in Manfe. And then you take the pastoral year experience, where you may be sent to work in a diocesan institution or in a parochial institution in a parish, an educational institution, or any as deemed necessary by the bishop. And subsequently, you proceed with formation into the theologicum, which is at the St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary, Bambui, Northwest region of Cameroon. This is just a tip of an iceberg, try to actually whet your appetite with regard to how the formation process actually evolves and what it takes to be a diocesan priest within a ecclesiastical province and within Holy Mother Roman Catholic Church. It follows suit with all other religious congregations. They have got their policies, their statutes, their various modes of operation. These are all communicated within any vocation camp. Thus, it's a moment to discuss workshops and share experiences. I remember in a vocation camp I attended prior to my admission into the seminary many years behind, around 2011, 2012. That was at St. Francis College, Fiango, Kumba. By then, the Diocese of Kumba was still merged to the Diocese of Boya. In fact, it was not yet created. Kumba used to be part of the Diocese of Boya. And so when we attended that vocation camp, it was a moment of sharing experiences. Some of the priests shared their experiences and what it took and the challenges they actually had to go through to become a priest. Likewise, the sisters, they shared some of the challenges, coming from immediate family members. Some were directly opposed by their parents, yet they had to table their consent before maybe the bishop, before their spiritual directors who stood by them. And after undergoing formation with experiences shared, there was always joy and celebration, especially on days of ordination, days of, first profession, final profession on the part of the sisters. Some of those family members who stood as obstacles later on came and joined and celebrated and danced and even danced more than even the ordained or the professed. So those were experiences that we're so eager to hear. And these are experiences that we never lack in vocation camps. So it is always a very, very, precious opportunity to attend Vocations Camp. You may be hearing me, that young man, that young lady, getting me about Vocations Camp. You may be getting me, a dear parent, and maybe your son or daughter has expressed this sometime, perhaps at table, while dining together. A young child in the house says, Mommy, I want to become a priest. Daddy, I think one day I will become a priest. I'd like to go to the seminary. Mommy, I think one day I would like to become a religious. I would like to be a sister in the Catholic Church. This is the moment where, even if that son is not by the television, glued to the television screen right now, you listening to us, dear parents, you have some kind of duty to transmit this information to that young man, to that young woman, saying, this is the peak moment. This is a high point where the diocese is organizing this, avenue of convergence to enable you discern more about your vocation. And the whole process is about discernment. Thus, that is it so far with regard to Vocations Camp. So the Diocese of Boya will be having a Vocations Camp. And this Vocations Camp is not far. It's just near at the corner. We are all expected to notify so many persons, individuals, young men and women about this upcoming Vocations Camp in the Diocese of Boya, where so many are expected to attend. We shall be giving you some of the modalities and some of the maybe requirements to answer, and the exact dates and the exact venue of this upcoming Vocations Camp that will be held in the Diocese of Boya. At this point in time, we shall be calling our broadcaster, the reliable JC, to give us a wonderful musical interlude that is soul searching, so that after which we come and continue with the rest of the program, giving some relevance with regard to attending the vocation camp and what are the modalities and requirements, qualifications, and all logistics that will be put into consideration to actually host these young men and women for the upcoming 2025 vocation camp of the Diocese of Boya. We shall take a short musical interlude, after which we shall be back. A beautiful one there. Thank you so much, JC Agum, for bringing to us that wonderful musical interlude. So wonderful and so beautiful. Now, with regard to these vocations come, if you're just joining us, the televiewer of Divine Mercy Radio Television, you are on to the program Vocations Corner, and we are looking at the Vocations Camp 2025 of the Diocese of Boya. And we mentioned that Vocations Camp is actually an organized moment where individuals are actually brought and they are aided through the instrumentality of the vocations director of a particular diocese, through the instrumentality of some religious men and women and some lay faithful, to help these young men and women to actually make very, very convincing decisions regarding to the way of life they would like to live, regarding to embracing a particular religious, congregation that has got some specific charisms. And of course, it's all about happiness. You cannot embrace a particular vocation of which you know you won't be happy. It's all about serving God happily. There's joy in serving the Lord. How good is to see that we speak from our heart. There is still joy and contentment in serving the Lord. As St. Paul will always say to the Ephesians chapter 4 verse 1, I exhort you to lead a life worthy of the calling that you have received. There is joy in serving the Lord as a religious man or woman, as a cleric, as a faithfully faithful in the Lord. So this Vocations Camp 2025, which is a pilgrimage of hope, as this year, of course, Pope Francis of blessed memory gave and dedicated this year as the extraordinarily jubilee year of hope. We are taking this Vocations Camp 2025, the Diocese of Boya, as a pilgrim vocations camp of hope, because we are pilgrims of hope and servants of the church and the world. Thus, that will be the main caption of this year's vocations camp. Pilgrims of hope, servants of the church and the world. These dates, the slot with regard to the allocated date and time for this Vocations Camp 2025 of the Diocese of Boya is slated for the 6th of July to the 11th of July, which will be a 5 days rigorous prayer, conversation, discussion, and sharing of vocation experiences. If you have not been opportunity to hear people share vocation experiences, at least for a few times you have heard some sisters, some brothers, and some fathers share their vocation experiences here in this same program over the Divine Mercy Radio Television, like Monsignor Moses Tazo, who actually shared on his vocation journey and in his work, My Vocation Gamble. You hear him saying from, shepherding flock, sheep, he tended to be a priest who shepherds God's people. He noted that in his vocation gamble. And then in this vocation camp, we are going to hear so much about discussions, sharing of experiences, encouragement, and deliberations, with so many questions that will be posed and answers given as well. So that will be from the 6th to the 11th of July 2025. And those to attend, we're talking about the venue. Of course, it's very, very clear the venue will be Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary here in the Diocese of Boya. And those to attend will be students from Form 3 and above. Students from Form 3 and above. With regard to the fee structure, we have a contributions per congregation. Of course, that one is meant for the congregations and those who come to talk about their charisms. They have the venue, as I earlier noted, will be Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary, Small Support in the Diocese of Boya. With regard to the requirements, what is needed for those who intend or who wish to attend, the requirements we have go along with your Bible. You must be present with your Bibles, which is the Word of God, with Cameroon hymnals, and with books and pens, in order to jot very, very important notifications. And mattresses are equally to be carried along with bed sheets, with warm clothing, pullover, blankets, plates, spoons, cup, etc. You name the many others that are needed. Thus, in the course of this camp, we shall have activities like Holy Mass, Holy Hour. We have formation activities with regard to various religious congregations, talks, social interactions, and sporting sessions, with very many different activities that will be happening in Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary, the Diocese of Boya. This communique has been issued by the Vocations Director of the Diocese of Boya, Father Emmanuel Epie. And you can always contact him through this number, 677 51 3552. You can always get to the Vocations Director through his immediate contact, 6775 13552. I'm still going to give the number prior to us drawing the curtains of today's program, so that if you don't have it, you may be opportune to have it, and you can always contact the Vocations Director of the Diocese of Boya, Reverend Father Emmanuel Epie. So far, so good. We have been talking about Vocations Camp, and we are looking this time around at the Vocations Camp that will be held in the Diocese of Boya subsequently. Let us talk briefly about the vocations being, any vocation being a gift and a mystery, as we are going to enable young men and women, as this Vocations Camp is aimed as enabling young men and women to try to unravel, to unearth, and to discern this vocation. And this vocation is described by the church as gifts and mystery. Every vocation is a gift and mystery. From who? From God to humanity, who at times are not even very worthy to actually accommodate and to harbor this wonderful gift and mystery from God. Now, in the context of spirituality and faith, vocation is often seen as a gift and mystery. There is no doubt about this. And vocation as a gift is considered as a gift from God. It's only God alone who can grant this precious, this special gift. And it is unique, and each person is invited to respond accordingly. Everyone is invited to respond accordingly to these various, to this special gift that God has addressed. You know, God addresses each one as an individual with regard to a vocation. So you cannot judge for your brother and say, God has called us, dear brother, to become priests. Let us go to the seminary. God has called us, my dear neighbor's child, that myself and all these your children will go and embrace the religious way of life. So straight away, prepare the modalities. We are going. Prepare the materials. Prepare the finance. Prepare all it takes, because God has called us. That's one person talking on behalf of others who are not even perhaps aware of what is happening. In this case, we get to know and realize that each vocation is unique, and God addresses the individual as a person. Whether the voice of God comes through another person, whether the voice of God comes to you through maybe a glimpse of some ecstasy or maybe a vision in your dream, whether the voice of God is addressed to you through someone who speaks and say, hey, young man, I see something special in you. You are so dedicated and serviceable in the church. You can be a priest. You can be a religious man or woman. Think of it. This is at times God speaking to us through human instruments. So whatever the dimension or whatever the source of these, words and thoughts expressed, such that we can decipher and discern our vocation. What is unique is that every vocation is unique. My vocation story is different from your vocation story. The urges, the insights, the elevation that I had with regard to making my decision to undergo formation in order to become a priest may be different from A, may be different from B, may be different from C. My motivation may be different from the whole world, and their motivation may be different from mine. So in this case, what is noted is that every vocation is unique. Every call addressed to each individual is unique. And thus we are all expected to respond accordingly with regard to how God addresses this call to us. At times it becomes a mystery so frightening, so threatening and frightening that it holds us so spellbound that we cannot even escape. I remember in less than no time, this in a week from now, maybe 5 days to come, some brothers who are seminarians will be ordained deacons in the Diocese of Boya. As a Karana will say, it is a mystery that is so frightening, yet it holds us spellbound that we cannot escape from it. That is God, whose power working in us can do infinitely much more than we can ever ask or even imagine. So it is always a precious moment as we go to this vocation camps to know that God is actually addressing us individually. God calls you my son. God calls you my daughter. God calls you my children. God calls you my delight. You are the one I treasure. You are the one I hope in. I counted on Adam. I counted on Cain. I counted, on Cain. Yes, he proved untrue. So go tell this world, Paul, I'm counting on you. Christ is addressing to you these words as an individual, that he's counting on you. Go tell the world the wonders that God has done as you evangelize, as you give your yes, your fiat to God who addresses these words to you. So every vocation is equally a way of living out one's faith and serving others. It's all about service, service, and service. And it's a way of living out one's faith. How can we prove? And how can we ascertain that we are living as Christ wants us to live? When we render these charitable works of mercy, when we give a smile to others, when we encourage others and help them in their vocation, then we can be rest assured that by our living and our way of life, our faith is equally, heightened. Our faith is equally growing, slowly but surely. And the gift of vocation is often discovered through prayer, reflection, and discernment. These 3 dimensions: prayer, reflection, and discernment. It is these 3 aspects that make actually want to realize that God is really calling me. God has chosen me. I have been set apart, as, of course, the prophet Jeremiah will say in chapter 1, verse 4, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you were selected, I had known you. Before you were born, I had selected you, I had anointed you to be my prophet to the nations. So with such a program, we tend to realize this prophetic call and mission which has been entrusted to us by God himself. Thus, it is a way of living out one's faith, serving others with dedication, serving others with joy. There is joy in serving the Lord. Joy in my heart when I heard them say, let us go to God's house. Let us go to God's house of helping and of serving one another. Definitely we are all filled with joy. That is the aim of this year's Vocations Camp. These are the objectives that are similarly, highlighted to be attained by the Vocations Director himself. And we are equally noting that the gift of a vocation is often discovered through prayer, reflection, and discernment, and that the vocation is also seen as a mystery which unfolds over time, with time gradually. For instance, if one is interested, one is molded, one is nurtured in the faith, one is encouraged, and one is journeyed along with. It is only with time that it is proven that indeed this young man had the vocation. Indeed, this young lady answered the call. And today she is a finally professed sister. Today this young man is a priest serving the God, the Lord, the people of the Lord, and serving the God of his life in absolute dedication. So it's with regard to time, and so many things are subjected to time and they are exposed with time. This is actually brought to a limelight as the days go by. So those are the objectives that a vocation can actually seek to attain. And it calls on humans to actually share experiences and challenges. Do not die in silence. That's when there will be a talk, there will be workshops, there will be sharing. So many people are introverts. Some of these young boys and girls are introverts. They don't come out. They don't open up. They have a difficulty. They die with ease. They are dying within. These vocations camp are equally there to help them to know how to speak and when to speak and to whom to speak and which is most appropriate to speak and at what time. All these are benefits which accompany one who attends a vocation camp. Therefore, you cannot, as a young man or woman, attend a vocation camp and you go back the same. That is it for the Vocations Camp of the Diocese of Boya 2025. Dear TV friend, at this point in time, I would like us to take again a short musical interlude, after which when we come back, we are going to wrap it and call it a day. We are going to wrap up, call it a day. But then you can always get to us, you can always chip in your contributions. We are always readily available to listen to you. But don't forget, we shall be giving you again the number of the Vocations Director of the Diocese of Boya, Father Emmanuel Epierre. You can always reach him. A moment to enlighten, a moment to journey, a moment to accompany, a moment where vocations will be actually embarked on. And through such vocations camp, some have become priests, some bishops, some sisters in the church, some happily married men and women, and some even living as individuals as a result of the fruits of attending a vocation camp. Let us take a short, interesting and soul-searching musical interlude, after which we shall come up and wrap the day with "Say that I may walk with you, you are my helper. You alone I deserve. You alone my heart yearns for." It's like, the psalmist says, like the deer that yearns for running streams, so my soul is yearning for you. What a beautiful composition and rendition there. Thank you so much, Jesse Agumba, for that beautiful piece. And here we have one of our viewers who has written us all the way from Poland. And he says, "Hello, greetings to you all in the studio. And thanks for this wonderful topic of discussion. I am really enjoying the program. This is Brother Roger watching from Krakow in Poland." Yes, in Poland. That was the country of Pope St. John Paul II. He actually had Poland as his country and by nationality. Of course, Brother Shea Rogers is watching us all the way from Poland and appreciates the effort. We equally want to appreciate you so much, Brother Roger, all the way from Krakow in Poland. God bless you over there. We are united in spirit and we wish you the best over there. ZMR TV is equally extending greetings to all of you who are watching us from far and wide, from far and near, in the north, south, east, and west. It is always our pleasure to reach out to you. And when we equally get feedback from you, we are equally elated, we are delighted. Thank you for keeping us posted, and God bless you as you remain glued to programs over the Divine Mercy Radio Television, sharing the light of hope. So far it has been good and wonderful, and one of the facts which we have been discussing, one of the very, very striking points, in fact, of consideration is the fact that anyone who attends a vocations camp cannot remain the same. There is some difference, there is some spiritual heightening, there is some spiritual growth, and above all, there is some firmness and resilience in decision making concerning one's vocation and one's way of life. Thus, do not afford to miss this opportunity. Do not afford to miss this opportunity of equally telling or reminding somebody about this vocation camp, especially the young, the youth, and those who have been yearning for such opportunities. Because when you attend a vocation camp, then you appreciate more with gratitude the love of God for you and the love of God for humanity, with a sense of humility, a sense of openness, a sense of absolute trust in the Lord. These are the objectives which will be attained in such a vocations camp. Therefore, let us encourage the young ones. Our parents, please let us encourage these children. Our brothers and sisters, encourage these young ones. Let us encourage ourselves to use this opportunity. From the 6th to the 11th of July at Bishop Rogan Minor Seminary, we shall be having this vocations camp for the year 2025, which so many people have been planning or praying to have. And like I earlier mentioned, if you have any doubt, you can always contact the vocations director. You can contact him with the number 6775135552. I take it again, 6775135552. 751 3552. That is the contact of Father Emmanuel Epie, the Vocations Director of the Diocese of Boya, who will be facilitating this whole process. So, dear TV friend, we are so delighted to have you. Thank you so much for the inputs, the contributions, and for always remaining glued to television programs. Hopefully, over the Divine Mercy Radio Television. By the grace of God, we shall be having the Vocations Director here next week, who will be telling us more about the, duties of a Vocations Director and some of those benefits which accompany one who attends a vocations camp in a diocese. There is just no way you can embrace a religious way of life and you relegate attending vocation camp at a background. These go hand in hand. Thus, you need to attend. Then you appreciate much, a bountiful and wonderful gifts that God has always prepared for his own. We keep on encouraging those who have embraced the vocation life, the religious and consecrated life, those who are priests, religious men and women, sisters, the monks living contemplative and meditative way of life. Like here in the Diocese of Boya, we have the Carmelite monks there at the Carmelite monastery in Sase, coming from various parts of the world, some from Mexico, some from Poland, some from Cameroon and other countries. That is the power of a vocation, which is gift and mystery. Thank you, dear TV friend. It has been wonderful having you on board today, and we remain very, very grateful that you are always glued to your television screens watching programs over the Divine Mercy Radio Television. For general supervision, we shall be, of course, drawing the curtains at this point in time. The general supervision came in from the station manager, Joyce Mbong. At the broadcasting team, we are the JC Agum, the doctor of the buttons, pressing the 1001 buttons. And for your host, I have been Father Martin Giamoka, urging you to remain tuned to more programs over the Divine Mercy Radio Television. Divine Mercy Radio Television, sharing the light of hope. We take another rendezvous next week, same time, same TV station, same highly esteemed audience. That is you listening to us. Remain blessed and we meet again. God bless you and happy new week.